You're watching Camnet TV, not just another channel. Welcome to our news. The headlines. Hundreds bid farewell to opposition RPP President James LUKUKU. Flopped Bill 10 supporters plan protest against MPs who voted against the bill. Girl 13 narrates how she was defiled. In international news, Uganda's BOBI wine arrested after presidential nomination. And in sports news, FIFA meeting for FA's aggrieved parties set for Thursday, 5th, 2020. For the details, join me shortly after this break.
Camnet TV invites all registered castor seed farmers for a 3-day training session. On Monday, 2nd November from 0830 hours, training for trainers cost 1,020 kwacha per participant. On Tuesday, 3rd November and Wednesday, 4th November, training for all castor growers, 620 kwacha per participant, lunch inclusive. Choose one day only.
Speakers will be Pastor Moses Chiluba, Israel Kimbo from Zimbabwe, Professor Rida from Egypt.
Venue, the Healing Word Ministries International in Ibex Hill. For more information, registration and payments, use the following numbers: 0979 753010, 0962 382535, 0962 965883. Cost for castor seed and fertilizer is $805 or kwacha equivalent. Deposit in Zanaco account number 57642835000191 Lewanika Mill branch. Let's make Zambia an economical powerhouse for Africa.
With the details, my name is Liseli Kanyanga. A sober mood characterized the Cathedral of the Holy Cross during a church service for the late opposition Republican Progressive Party leader RPP President James LUKUKU. Opposition political party presidents, among them UPND's Hakainde Hichilema, NDC's Shishemba Kambwili, and many others were in attendance. Many have since described Mr. LUKUKU as a brave warrior who fought for the country's freedom and liberties. Sharon Kalembula attended the funeral procession and now reports.
We shall remember President LUKUKU as a fearless politician who gave all for the liberation of this country. Mr. LUKUKU's dream was to see a people-driven constitution in Zambia. We shall remember President LUKUKU for his commitment to the unity of purpose towards achieving a dream for a better Zambia. These are some of the glowing tributes issued at the send-off of Republican Progressive Party leader James Kasanda Musendeka LUKUKU. Late James LUKUKU died last Saturday at around 21 hours at the University Teaching Hospital at the age of 40 after a short illness. In a short send-off gathering held at the Cathedral of the Holy Cross, Lusaka, Tuesday, attended by family and political leaders and other party sympathizers, Bishop Stephen Carter shared a word from the Bible encouraging the family to soldier on and not question God.
We want to believe that our brother James was looking forward to a better Zambia, where each and every Zambia was going to be treated equal before the law. We want to believe that our brother James was believing for a country where we are going to have the wealth of this nation shared equally among the citizenry of this nation, including those people that come into the country, as long as they have the right documents to be in the country. He had so many plans. He had so many ambitions of the things that he wanted to do for this country. But brethren, as we reflect upon the life of James, I want to take you to your own life to reflect upon your life. If Jesus came today, what will you be your testimony?
Family members will remember him as a man who united the family.
No one ever swear well. No one ever said goodbye. You were born before we knew it, and only God knows why. It's hard to begin to say how we went to forget a person like you, our brother. You gave us so much to remember.
And RPP Vice President Leslie Chikose described the late LUKUKU as a courageous and fearless man, a gifted patriot, son of the soil.
President LUKUKU was a courageous, fearless, skillful president whose fearlessness and courage was misconstrued sometimes for months. However, the Zambian people have come to realize that the courage and the lack of fear was because he understood that where there is a competent leadership, where there is a leadership that is not selfish, that is prudent with resources, we can have a just society where there is equitable distribution of wealth and where the talents of the people can be translated into national development. And that is the vision that the Republican progressive late president had, that there must be fair application of the law.
Meanwhile, opposition presidents from the United Party for National Development and National Democratic Congress Party also gave their tribute.
My colleagues, because time is not there, in the political party leaderships for supporting James even in his death. This is what we want this country to be. This is what we want citizens of this country to be. Across the 10 provinces of our country. Towards each other. Friendship. Feeling for each other. Common goals. Common betterment of the lives of all our people. My younger brother, I came to know you when you were in MPP as provincial secretary. Very young and committed to the cause. You wanted a Zambia where everybody was going to live better. You went into politics not for positions, but to contribute. If it were not so, you would have been in PF, because at one time you were PF. But you decided to remain in the opposition because your political journey was nothing but a service to humanity and to make Zambia a better place to live. My younger brother can only say, you ran your race, you fought your fight. May your soul rest in eternal peace.
Go well, son of the soil. Go well, son of the soil. These were the last words from each one who spoke at the ceremony. Indeed, he will be remembered for his contribution to Mother Zambia. Sharon Kalimbula, Camnet News, Lusaka.
Mr. LUKUKU was one of the most arrested opposition leaders in the country as he normally took on the bull by its horns. Here's a short clip of the late Mr. LUKUKU as he spoke on various national issues.
The Republican Progressive Party President James LUKUKU says these are just the clear signs of the crumbling economy.
The economy, according to what the governor said, is just something that is difficult for us to trust to say we are doing the best in as far as mitigating this bad economy, which has translated badly into the suffering of the masses. We are suffering, all of us, and I'm sure coming from what the governor said, he has summed it all. He has summed it all because he has pointed out almost every other indicator, every other economic indicator is telling him that things are not good. The bank governor is talking about liquidity, has admitted He has admitted that liquidity in this nation is not just what people can afford. That's why you're going to find that there is nobody in this country whatsoever that has got money. And now there is this issue of inflation. Now there is this high price, the problem with prices.
Mr. Lukuku also says corruption is leading to reduced liquidity in the economy, as those involved in illegal dealings are stacking money in offshore accounts, thereby depleting the local resources.
Each and every person that is having illegal funds from this country, they are stashing these monies in offshore accounts. Why can't the FBI, why can't the Scotland Yard and other international investigative wings come and help this nation? Because there is a lot of stashing of colossal sums of money in offshore accounts, which is resulting in lack of liquidity in our country. And you see what it means? We have got a lot of businesses I wouldn't like to mention, but you know, there is a lot of businesses who have been a tradition for so many years of borrowing money. So those that are bearing money in trunks, those that are now taking money out of the country, the banks are also externalizing through their interest that they get from us that are using banks for services. So you cannot expect a nation to survive. So these are the fundamentals.
Indeed, may his soul rest in eternal peace. Moving on in the news, supporters of the Debt Bill 10 have announced plans to demonstrate at Parliament buildings to question the members of Parliament who voted against the bill and whose views they were representing. The supporters at a media briefing led by Prince Ndoi lamented the failure of the bill, saying Zambians have lost an opportunity to clean the constitution. Mr. Ndoi has observed that failure to amend the constitution will have serious repercussions going into the 2021 general elections. He adds that the Public Order Act, among other laws, have had a chance to be enhanced, failed to take off because of what he terms as a few selfish individuals. The advocates have since praised all the opposition members who voted for the bill, as it showed a true representation of the people and not the party they belong to.
Does this mean that Bill 10 has collapsed? The number one impact is that 2021 elections will be held under the same political and electoral framework of 2016. And I want to repeat that the 2016 elections that we held, that framework and electoral framework, in terms of the political and electoral framework, is the same one under which we shall hold the 2021 elections. The Public Order Act is going to be the same. The 14 days as interpreted by the Constitutional Court is the same. The Electoral Process Act is the same. And the only time a president ceases to be president is when he hands over to another president, president-elect. And I want to state here, by the way, that we have heard there's an argument that the UPND, I think Sangwa says he has prepared a petition, which is sitting on his laptop. And we pray to God so hard that that laptop must not crash. It must be safe until we reach to 2021, so that he can use it in the 2021 elections. And you must not accuse anyone. So please, if he has friends who have flash disks and with viruses, avoid using Sangwa's laptop. We want that petition to be ready for 2021 elections. We want to state this for argument purposes, that we want to add our voice to that debate. The same constitution says that a sitting president, so long as there is a president, cannot be taken to court. So these are lawyers. We're not lawyers ourselves. They're
Governance, Elections, Advocacy and Research Services GEARS Initiative Executive Director McDonald Chipenzi has challenged Justice Minister Given Lubinda to tell the nation which amendment clause in the failed Bill 10 spoke of freedoms of assembly, association and expression, which the Public Order Act is regulating. He said it is treacherous to hold the nation at ransom over non-existing clauses while continuously justifying why Bill 10 should have passed. He adds that Article 20 and 21 of the Constitution, which speaks about Public Order Act, were not amended as being claimed by Mr. Lubinda.
Luginda is advancing a false argument with regards to the repeal or amendment or review of the Public Order Act, because Bill 10 has had no relationship with the amendment to the Public Order Act. I want to challenge Honorable Given Luginda to inform the nation or indeed cite any amendment clause that was speaking to the issues that Public Order Act is addressing in this country. We all know that the Public Order Act is there to regulate assemblies, to regulate association, to regulate the freedom of expression, but we want him to tell us which of the clauses in Bill 10 of the 79 clauses in Bill 10 that we are speaking on the issues of association, issues of assembly, and issues of expression. I think we must not use treachery in order to win people's sympathy and support on any other issue. Let's be very, very categorical and truthful in our argument. I think that's the only way we can win credibility and we can win the support of the people. So the only articles in the Constitution that speak to the Public Order Act, the Article 21, 20, Article 20, 21 of our Constitution, because those two speak to the issue of freedom of assembly, freedom of expression, freedom of association, freedom of opinion, dissemination of that opinion, and non-interference in the correspondence of any person, and also the freedom of the press. Those are the two which I think the Public Order Act was trying to respond.
I have noted with concern that our colleagues have continued mourning the demise of Bill 10, and this morning we have witnessed a press briefing by the Minister of Information, the Minister of Justice, and the Chief Government Whip on ZNBC, which facility is being denied to us as opposition so that we can express our views pertaining to Bill 10. We have heard the Honorable Luginda condemning members of the UPND for having walked out of Parliament. He has said that that is unprecedented, is irresponsible, it doesn't befit the status of an MP for UPND to walk away from Parliament. I want to state, without fear of any contradiction, that walking out of Parliament when a bill or any motion is on the floor of the House is the democratic right of the members of Parliament. The Speaker of Parliament, Mr. Mativini, and the others have ruled on several occasions that members of Parliament have a right to walk out if they are aggrieved with any motion or any bill that is before the House. It therefore entails that what we did on that particular day to defeat Bill 10 by walking out was within our democratic right, and we are happy with the outcome that Bill 10.
Court 11 at Lusaka's Magistrate Court was silent as a 13-year-old girl took to the stand to testify how a 35-year-old man of Lusaka's Chamba Valley took turns in defiling her and 3 others. The girl testified before Magistrate Fides Hamaundu that Joseph Winga lured them in his house and locked it before taking turns in defiling them. This is in a matter in which Winga, a builder of Chamba Valley, is accused of defiling 4 minors in a space of an hour. More in this report.
They have to live their entire life thinking about the pain they went through in the hands of their abuser. This is a case of 4 girls of Lusaka's Chamba Valley area that were sexually abused by a 35-year-old builder of the same area in a space of 1 hour. The alleged abuser, Joseph Winga, stands charged with 4 counts of defilement. He has been accused of defiling the 4 girls who are aged 13, 10, 9, and 13. Shockingly, it is. How can a man of his age do this to these defenseless minors? What was going on in his head? A question that everyone wants answers to. One of the alleged victims, aged 13, testified before Lusaka magistrate Faide Samaundu that Joseph Winga, her alleged abuser, took advantage of her and her friends. Her evidence before court alleged that on the material day, they were at the accused house where they were picking fruits in a tree and later decided to ask for water at the accused place. However, the accused is said to have seen an opportunity and locked the 4 girls in the house and proceeded in abusing them. In a testimony, Winga had told one of the victims, aged 10, that he loved her more than her friends. The accused is alleged to have committed this offense in the month of July 3rd, 2020. Winga faces up to 15 years in prison if found guilty of the offense. Matter comes up on the 17th of November 2020 for continued trial. Miriam Kemba, reporting for Camnet TV News in Lusaka.
A 15-year-old girl of Itezi has died after the walls of the well she was drawing water from fell on her and later buried her alive. Acting police spokesperson Danny Mwale, in a media statement, says the incident happened on November 2nd, 2020, around 8 hours. Mr. Mwale explains that the girl, identified as Cynthia Momba, was in the company of 2 of her siblings when the incident happened. Community members retrieved the lifeless body of Cynthia from the well hours after the incident happened and has since been buried.
Police in Teji district received a report of sudden and unnatural death from Obvious Hanyuka, aged 40, of Shapoma village in Teji, who reported that his niece, identified as Cynthia Momba, aged 15, died suddenly after the walls of the well she was drawing water from collapsed and buried her. Brief facts of the incident are that the deceased, a grade 5 pupil at Nkobo Primary School in Itesteji, whilst in the company of her 2 siblings, left home to go and fetch water. It was during the process of drawing water that the incident happened on November 2, 2020, around 08 hours. The body of the deceased was retrieved by members of the community in the same village. Police visited the scene and suspected no foul play. The deceased has since been buried.
We take our first set of commercials. Do stay with us as we have more interesting stories lined up for you.
And why do you look so pale and busy scratching yourself?
Alamwandi, you know my skin is very sensitive. I've tried all the skin products and nothing seems to work.
Have you tried Oracle Pure Glycerin?
Oracle Pure Glycerin? What's that?
Just give me a minute.
Oracle Pure Glycerin gives your skin a youthful and healthy glow.
Ish, you're glowing. Don't tell me. Yes! I already know the secrets. Oracle Pure Glycerin!
Try Oracle Pure Glycerin for that perfect skin.
Women of Excellence International will be hosting 2020 Ladies Annual Conference with your host, Prophetess Isabel Ngambi, under the theme, A Woman of Excellence. Guest speakers, Bishop Nelly Chikwanda from New Life Ministries International, Reverend Lily Malinga from Living Waters Ministries International, and Pastor Elizabeth Piri from Restoration Ministries. Date, 6th, 7th and 8th November 2020. Time on Friday, 16 hours to 18 hours. On Saturday, 09 hours to 17 hours. And on Sunday, from 14 hours to 17 hours. Venue, Prayers Christian Center headquarters next to Chainama Hospital in Lusaka. Admission is free. For details, call 0956 020425. Be there.
Take control of your tax planning. Avoid penalties and interest. Returns and payments due by the 10th of the month for declarations of the previous month's transactions are pay-as-you-earn and skills development levy. Returns and payments due by the 14th of the month are turnover tax, withholding tax, mineral royalty tax, tourism levy, gaming and baiting, presumptive tax. Returns and payments for all withholding VAT agents is the 16th of the month. Returns and payments for all VAT registered suppliers is the 18th of the month. Submit the returns and make payments on or before the respective due dates to avoid penalties on the late submission of returns and payments of taxes. Further, note that VAT tax invoices for all business-to-business and business-to-government transactions must bear the tip-in of the buyer without fail. Zambia Revenue Authority. My tax, your tax, our destiny.
Thank you so much for staying with us. We continue with the news. Monza's Central Member of Parliament, Jack Mwimbu, has appealed to government to consider extending the mobile issuance of national registration cards in Western Province and other areas by at least 10 days. Addressing the media Tuesday, Mr. Mwimbu notes that the process was not fair in that equipment and materials used in the process were delivered late, making the whole process slow. Mr. Mwimbu says the delayment in the delivery of equipment used in the printing of NRCs disadvantaged many eligible citizens, hence the appeal to extend the days. He says once this anomaly is left uncorrected, has the potential to disfranchise a lot of would-be voters in the 2021 general elections. The mobile issuance of NRCs Phase 2 was extended by 5 days, which is coming to a close tomorrow, 4th October 2020. The second phase, which commenced on the 20th of September 2020, was done in 4 provinces: Lusaka, Western, Central, and Southern provinces.
Out of the problems that have arisen and the failure by officers to work during the extended period, we are requesting the Minister of Home Affairs to do the needful and ensure that the issuance of registration cards in these areas is extended for at least another 10 days. And during the requested extension, please make sure that the workers work prudently and the materials are made available. If that is not done, a lot of people will be defranchised in these specific areas I've mentioned. We are all aware that they have been claiming that they have infiltrated and they have made sure that Western Province is no longer the bedrock of the UPND. If that is the case, why are they defranchising their own people? Even in the other provinces, there are members of the public who are PF, but they have been denied the right to access national registration cards. So we are calling upon the minister to ensure that there is an extension. An NRC is an identity document that signifies that the holder is a Zambian. An NRC entails that you are able to be associated with the country Zambia.
Meanwhile, Home Affairs Minister Stephen Kampyongo has told the nation that so far 632,363 people have been captured in the second phase, whose target was 730,000 people, describing the situation as a success. The minister has, however, acknowledged some selected incidences, or as reported by officers during this phase, but that government is working towards addressing the reported challenges. He says the 87% capture of the people is good regardless of it being less than the number captured at the end of the program tomorrow, 4th November 2020.
It is for this reason that government saw it fit to extend the mobile registration period for 5 days to end on the 4th of November 2020. And Mr. Speaker, I want to sincerely appreciate, I honor the Vice President's office and the Electoral Commission of Zambia for understanding this position. Mr. Speaker, the target for phase 2 of the mobile national registration exercise was to capture about 730,000 nationals and issue them with national registration cards. So far, 632,363 NRCs have been issued, representing 87% success rate. I wish to thank the honorable members of parliament, traditional leaders, and other stakeholders for participating in the exercise by encouraging all eligible persons to obtain national registration cards. Mr. Speaker, it goes without saying that some challenges were encountered during this mammoth undertaking. But the ministry worked closely with stakeholders to ensure that these challenges were addressed. Mr. Speaker, we had some instances where unscrupulous individuals were taking advantage of unsuspecting applicants by charging for affidavits, and these are cases that were reported mainly in Lusaka district, and the ministry quickly moved in to deploy police officers to keep the situation in check.
The Center for Trade Policy and Development has called on government to open border posts to facilitate trade of maize to other countries. CTPD Executive Director Isaac Maipopo wonders how government would block the exportation of maize to other countries when the country is seriously in need of foreign exchange. Mr. Maipopo explains that Zambia, having recorded a surplus of maize during the 2019-2020 farming season, wouldn't hurt it if Zambia could export part of the surplus maize before it goes to waste. On the 4th of September 2020, Zambia, through Agriculture Minister Michael Katambo, temporarily banned exports of maize and maize meal until the country secured 1 million tons of grain.
The Center for Trade Policy and Development would like to make an appeal to government through the Ministry of Agriculture to relook at the modalities of managing the export of grain such as maize. It is deeply worrying that for a country that is in deeply need of foreign exchange following the economic challenges that we have been experiencing, and a country that has actually recorded a surplus in terms of the grain that had been grown by our farmers, we continue to block border posts to avoid the exportation of grain that is in demand in other countries. Our expectation from the Center for Trade Policy and Development is that government should play a strategic role of facilitating for trade in processed mealie meal grain, and then we should have a back plan in terms of trying to encourage our farmers to produce more so that we become a net exporter, unlike the backward policies that we are implementing. If we are to lift our farmers out of poverty, we actually need to look at the opportunities that exist, especially in the export market.
Munali Constituency Member of Parliament Kandu Luo has assured the people of Mutendere East of government's continued effort on bringing development to the area. Speaking during the groundbreaking ceremony of the new Mutendere East Clinic in Jainda Ward of Munali, Dr. Luo has made an assurance to the residents that within a period of 16 weeks the clinic will be completed. She reiterates that this is one way of reducing the stress of residents having to walk long distances to access health services.
So kuno twalikwata kwa ma empowerment, so bali abashilala pa empowerment ya fitekwa ma incubators ifya kutwila kwembalala fyonse okubila shani. Let me introduce our coordinator for empowerment, so that when we share my empowerment groups, I'm taking advantage of this Bupe Banda, Eva chairperson by empowerment, and the coordinator from Tendere East is Modesta Ruru. So Kumunai, we are not only constructing things, but we are also looking after people's livelihoods. So we are constructing, but we are also doing empowerments for those of you who want to participate in other business ventures from Nine constituency. So the man to see is the man at the end there. And the World Development Committee Chair, Mr. Soko, because whatever chairman we can count square, but kuno kupitira muri ba Modesta nangu ba Soko aba, he is very, very active. This is the man who receives it. Applications of the intentions of children who want to go to school, so that there is no point in doing all the things. It will not help us. We want to make sure that so I'm just taking advantage of my being here for those who haven't heard the program that we have in Munad. So we
A state witness in the Chela Tukuta defamation case against Information and Broadcasting Services Minister Dora Silia has told the court that Ms. Silia is a respected woman who cannot stoop so low to sell young ladies for sex. Mercy Mukwiza, 30, a model, tells Lusaka Magistrate Chief Resident Lamek Mwale that it is therefore shocking to hear someone accuse Ms. Silia of such acts. This is in a matter in which Cornelius Mwitwa, popularly known as Chela Tukuta, is charged with 1 count of libel. The witness in her testimony testified that in 2014, when she was a model at Zambia fashion show, Chela Tukuta took photos of her when she was in a changing room in underwear, and he posted the photos on social media. According to the witness, Chela wanted to have a naked photo shoot with her, but she declined his offer and when asked by the defense if she was in good terms with Tukuta, the witness confirmed to the court that she is not in good terms with Tukuta. The matter comes up for continuation of trial on the 2nd of December 2020. We now take our second set of commercials. Do stay with us as we have international and sports news.
From time immemorial, we have had different types of lighting options, from those that can burn down our investments in minutes to those that dig holes in our pockets due to constant replacement and huge consumption of our Zesco units. Savenda Electric introduces the new and advanced electric bulb with cutting-edge technology of LED that has low power consumption, gives out bright white light, and lasts up to 25,000 hours. Savenda Electric manufactures all types of LED light, like plastic LED fluorescent tubes, down lights, ceiling lights, outdoor fittings, and solar street lights made to customer specifications. Let's live on the bright side of life by choosing the wide range of Savenda electric lighting solutions that are available in all leading stores and supermarkets countrywide. For orders, call 0962 642 490 or email jnbunda@savenda.com or pchabula@savenda.com.
Stay home, stay safe. Times have changed. With the advent of the coronavirus, Lusaka Water Supply and Sanitation Company would like to advise its esteemed customers to avoid visiting crowded places. You don't have to move to pay your water bill. You can do it in the convenience of your home. You can pay your water bills through Zanaco Zapit, Stanbic Bank, Standard Chartered Bank, and FNB. You can also use Airtel, MTN, and Zamtel Kwacha mobile money transfer services. For any inquiries to report a fault, please contact our customer service on +260 211 251 571, +260 975 618 618, and toll-free line 5957, Zamtel only. You can also simply email customerservice@lwsc.com. This public announcement is brought to you by the Lusaka Water Supply and Sanitation Company. Water is life. Sanitation is health.
Camnet TV invites all registered castor seed farmers for a 3-day training session. On Monday, 2nd November from 08:30 hours, training for trainers, cost 1,020 kwacha per participant. On Tuesday, 3rd November and Wednesday, 4th November, training for all castor growers, 620 kwacha per participant, lunch inclusive. Choose one day only.
Speakers will be Pastor Moses Chiluba, Israel Kimbo from Zimbabwe, Professor Rida from Egypt.
Venue, the Healing Word Ministries International in Arbex Hill. For more information, registration and payments, use the following numbers: 0979 753010, 0962 382535, 0962 965883. Cost for castor seed and fertilizer is $805 or kwacha equivalent. Deposit in Zanaco account number 5764283500-191 Lewanika Mill branch. Let's make Zambia an economical powerhouse for Africa.
Thank you so much for staying with us. We continue with international news. Ugandan opposition leader and popular singer Bobi Wine has been arrested just after he was certified as a candidate in next year's presidential election, his party says. In a video, Ugandan police are seen using a hammer to break the windows of Mr. Wine's vehicle before forcibly dragging him out of it. The police bundled him into their own vehicle and took off. The local NBS television reporting from the scene said the singer was put into a police van amid violent scuffles between police and his supporters. Police spokesman said he had yet to receive a briefing on the arrest and promised to comment later. Wine, 38, whose real name is Robert Kayangulai, aims to end President Museveni's 34 years in power, making him Africa's third longest ruling leader. Elections are scheduled for February next year. Here's an international roundup on the story.
Okay, jiteke just musawo musawo awali musawo yo ya sati musawo ya sati jiteke musawo ya sati jiteke musawo ya sati. Tell me again.
This is what the police is doing. This is what the police is doing.
We want to be violent.
Don't be violent.
We will not be violent. What kind of election are we going to? I'm a journalist. No. There's nothing you're going to do to me. There's nothing you're going to do.
Still in international news, Ivory Coast President Alassane Ouattara has won a third term in office with 94.27% of the vote. The Electoral Commission announced after a bitter election which sparked deadly violence and which opposition voters boycotted. The results have to be validated by the country's constitutional court, which will declare the final winner after hearing any challenges or complaints or irregularities. Two main opposition candidates on the ballot had asked supporters not to take part in Saturday's election in protest of Ouattara's decision to run. Opposition activists say Ouattara's decision to seek a third term was a further blow to the democracy in West Africa less than 3 months after a military coup in neighboring Mali and a successful third term bid by Guinea's President Alpha Condé. Ouattara, 78, received more than 90% of the votes in most districts, although the opposition said his bid was an illegal attempt to hold on to power. Here's an international roundup on the story.
Resounding landslide as the final referendum results in Ivory Coast were announced on state television.
For yes, 2,480,287 votes are at 93.42%.
With voter turnout recorded at 42%, the outcome is an overwhelming victory for current President Alassane Ouattara. The opposition boycotted the ballot and claimed the turnout was rigged. Tuesday's results prove that the nation has backed President Ouattara's constitutional reform. It will scrap the requirement for presidential candidates' parents to be born Ivorians. Under the existing legislation, the opposition had accused President Ouattara of failing to meet the nationality requirement due to his father originating from Burkina Faso. Election observers say the ballot went smoothly, but expressed concerns over the lack of information given to the public.
There wasn't much enthusiasm from the people. That's because there had not been good communication with regards to the constitutional text which had been drafted. It hadn't been fully understood by the people and opinion leaders who usually advise voters.
The opposition is accusing Ouattara of using the legislation to handpick his successor after he finishes his term in 2020. The revised constitution will allow the president to choose a vice president and set up a senate, a third of whom would be nominated by the head of state. President Ouattara says he hopes the new constitution will help end years of instability in his country. The results of the referendum must now be validated by the Constitutional Court.
We now get into sports news. World Football Governing Body FIFA has set Thursday, 5th November 2020 as a date for the meeting between FAS and the aggravated parties. The FIFA meeting will be held via video conference from 10 hours to 12 hours and is expected to be attended by 10 invited participants. The invited guests include Sports Minister Emmanuel Mulenga, Permanent Secretary Joe Kapambwe, FAS President Andrew Kamanga, FAS General Secretary Adrian Kashala, and Director of Sport John Zulu. Others are National Sports Council of Zambia Chairperson Patrick Mtimushi and his Acting General Secretary Rafael Mulenga. The aggravated parties on electoral complaints will be represented by Damanyo Mutale, Patson Lusaka, and Ricky Mufunda. FIFA, who are the conveners of the meeting, have also shared the agenda, which includes remarks from the Football Governing Body, the Sports Minister, NSCZ, aggravated parties, responses by FAS and the way forward, and the closing remarks, which will be made by FIFA. This is according to a statement made available to the media by FAS Communications Manager Sydney Mugala. That sports item brings us to the end of the news, but before we go, a recap of the headlines. Hundreds bid farewell to opposition RPP President James LUKUKU. Flopped Bill 10 supporters plan protest against MPs who voted against the bill. Girl 13 narrates how she was defiled. In international news, Uganda's BOBI wine arrested after presidential nomination. And in sports news, FIFA meeting for FA's aggrieved parties set for Thursday, 5th, 2020. The Camnet World Verse of the Day is coming from the book of Proverbs 3, verse 4 to 6, and it reads, "Trust in the Lord with all thy heart, and lean not unto thy own understanding. In all your ways acknowledge him, and he shall direct your path." On behalf of the entire news production crew and myself, Liseli Kanyanga, thank you so much for watching Camnet News on Camnet TV, not just another channel.